Hey everybody, welcome back to Conversations in Pop Culture, and we are back in the saddle once again for another season. And I have with me returning comic creator Tom Hutchison from Big Dog Inc. and Brian Peterson, who I'm meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
And I'm so stoked to have you on because we were supposed to do something a little while ago, but fate just didn't want us to do it, guys. But obviously, welcome both of you to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited because obviously I just backed this Kickstarter and I picked up a mystery box.
Finally,
cool.
took you like you didn't come on day one. Yeah, you came on day like 9.
I wanted the bad boyness to come out. I wanted you to earn it. You had to earn it.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, honestly, I was hemming and hawing, and I was even tempted to wait till Friday till I got paid just to make sure that I could cover it. But then I just said, "Fuck it." I don't get charged anyway.
Right.
Till it ends, because I forget. Indiegogo mixes me up, like it really does. But obviously, you have Ursa Minor going on right now, and I know it's the 10th year anniversary, and I think this is issue 9 and 10. I want to say a little confused because this is the one that I know the least about.
Yeah, it's so basically what we've been doing over the past few years. When we started doing Kickstarters, we were doing it an issue at a time. But as I was doing that, I was realizing that was going to take so much time to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with all these books. So what we started doing with Legend of Oz was we started doubling up the books. So instead of a 20-page book, which is your normal comic book, we started doing 40-page books, which would get the content out there a little faster. So for example, for Ursa Minor, instead of having 5 20-page campaigns, we have the original is a 20-page book to kind of get people started, and then the next 2 are 40 pages, and so that's 100 pages of book in 3 campaigns, and then we basically wrap up a complete 5-issue story arc in 3 campaigns. So that's what we've been doing. And so the numbering, while this is part 3 of this arc, it is our legacy numbering continues on. So we call this 9-10 because it is what would literally be issues 9 and 10.
Yeah, and we're going to touch upon that. But before we do, I do want to catch everybody up on what Ursa Minor is, because, again, some people might not know anything about this. Obviously, people come in, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, with Big Dog Inc. Some people come in for Penny for Your Soul. Some people like the Oz stuff. Some people like Critter. Some people come in for, camp crossover and a variety of other stuff. And so what is the basic premise of this book for those who have never heard about it? Because, again, I'm more in the dark on this one than anything else, as I stated.
Yeah, so this is our horror book. This was the first horror book that we produced back in 2012 when it first released. Basically, it is werewolves, vampires, all sorts of monsters from around the world, and the focus is Naomi, who is the last of the werebears. And so the book starts in 2013, 2022. We launched the book. So it's sort of a pseudo future, but the future is like really right now because it's 2022. But back then it was like 10 years ahead. So 2022, werewolves show up and assassinate the president-elect on national TV. So it sends the United States into a state of paranoia, like old witch trial days. So as the wolf hunts start, the vampires realize that they're going to get stuck in this problem. And so they kind of out themselves voluntarily and say, look, okay, we're going to take care of this werewolf problem. You just leave us out of all of this supernatural versus stuff. And humans are basically, all right, this sounds fine. Take care of the problem. So the vampires, first thing they do is they go and track down and hunt down all the werebears, wipe them out. I won't tell you why. That's part of the story. And they proceed to start knocking down the werewolves and so on and so on. And that's kind of what kicks the whole thing off. And we find in the first volume that Naomi is the last of the werebears, and she and her friends go out at night from time to time, knock off a couple of vampires, come back home. But they realize that just killing a couple of vampires is a numbers game that doesn't work because all the rest of the vampires in the world are just biting people and making more vampires. So they have to figure out a way to eliminate vampires in bulk. And they figure out a way to do that in the first volume. And that is kind of the theme that has been happening now all the way into volume 3, where we find Naomi has come across Dracula of all people, and the story has progressed to a point now with issue 3 or 9, 10 as the issues go, where it's this final portion that Fabio Samao is drawing right now, which is crazy. Is Naomi versus Dracula, and it is action, and it is blood and guts and fangs, and just Fabio is ridiculous on what he's doing artistically, and I think you guys are going to really love the way this thing turns out.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and
Oh, dude, yes, that's the short story.
I am just being very vague when I say a lot of stuff's going on. And again, I haven't read any of this, so I'm coming in a little bit blind, but done a little homework on it. And yeah, I mean, this is the end of an arc. I don't know if this is the end of Ursa Minor or what's coming next, but obviously
there'll be more. But this is the end of this particular little story in the overall grand story.
And so obviously, I mean, fans who have been following this, they've been waiting for a while for this. And so that's really where this is going to go. And I'm not going to dive too much further into this, but you did mention that this is 9 and 10, and it's obviously a bigger book. And so what is that like? Because I don't think it's a secret, but art costs money. And whenever you go to a bigger book, it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
Printing is going to be a little bit more expensive, or a lot more expensive, depending.
Yeah, a little, not much. That's actually an advantage to doing a double-sized book, is the printing is a little more, but not substantial. It would actually cost more to print them separately. So there's a small advantage there, but you're also absorbing a lot more just upfront costs with 40 pages of art versus 20 pages of art. So yeah, it's there. But I think in the long run, getting story arcs done faster is the right methodology, and it worked really well when we did this with Legend of Oz. And it's working here again, and we'll continue to do it in those types of formats as we have long stretches of a series that we want to keep doing.
And so to even talk about that too, because this is one of the pet peeves I think that people have on Kickstarter, is the speed of things, and also the content you're getting. I mean, when you're getting 22 pages and I have to wait 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, it kind of sucks, because we are in very much a binge society.
Oh, yeah.
So, when I get 40 pages of a book and I get it relatively quickly, at least I'm getting a bigger chunk, if that makes any sense. And
absolutely.
So what is that? Because I was on Paul Gomez's show just recently, and we were speaking about it, and he asked me a question. I was being interviewed, and he said, how do you add value to your customers? And obviously exclusivity is one, but also getting a book out quicker, getting more of a book, different stock, better art, things of that nature add a lot of value. And so what is that like? Because I think this is beneficial, and also this might allow you, since you're doing a 40-page book, you might be able to get out 2-3 more campaigns a year.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of the goal, is instead of just 5 Ursa Minor campaigns, we can do 3, and then we can do a couple others throughout the year for other books. So we're just moving through content faster, and we can do Ursa Minor, and then we can do Goth Day, and then we can do Critter, and then we can do Princesses versus Zombies, and we can do more content when we're not having to just focus on like, okay, we got to run 5 or 6 issues of one book. And that's the sort of the test that we've been doing over the last couple of years to see how that plays. Now, I'll tell you that page count of the books seems to have precisely 0 effect on our backers, as far as like whether they're happy or sad or indifferent to page count. They get the book, and generally speaking, they're like, cool, I got a new BDI book. I've never heard like, oh, I wish this was 40 pages, or I've never heard, oh my God, it's 40 pages. Like, there's just no reaction at all. It's just a book. It's just, I got the new BDI book and I'm happy, and here's my cover, and this is badass. And that's what people talk about, when they get their stuff and they're like, oh, it's mail call, and I got Big Dog stuff, and they're like, I got this, and I got this, and I got this. It's never a talk about, oh, and it's only 20 pages, or it's, holy shit, it's 40 pages. Like, it just doesn't matter. In my experience, it doesn't matter. Now, that doesn't mean to say that in their brain they don't have that going on, but it's never presented as a like, oh, I wish it could have been more or whatever. People are just enjoying. And I think what I would say is that I think that that's just a testament to what the product is. We use good paper. We use heavy cardstock. We have amazing artists inside and out. You know, we don't skimp on the inside art either. So when you buy your Brian Peterson cover and you're like, fuck, that's great. And then you open up the book, it doesn't look like somebody's 8-year-old cousin drew the book. You know, that's solid art on the inside too.
So let's even ask Brian about this, because obviously you've come into Big Dog Ink recently, I think.
Yeah, it's been a few years, but you know, I'm still fairly new in the industry. But I started with Tom like 2020, maybe
2019, I think, because your first book was Scheherazade for us.
Yep.
And so what is this like? Because obviously Big Dog Ink's been around for 13 years. I think it's your 13th anniversary this year, right?
Yep. 2023, 13 years.
And then obviously Ursa Minor is on its 10th anniversary. And so you've come into this company when it's gone through a bunch of different phases and it's now at its next evolution, and they're doing really cool stuff. And then obviously when they get more covers done and more campaigns done, obviously for most of these campaigns, you're on them. And so what is this like? Because it's a well-oiled machine in a lot of ways, and people are excited to get your covers. And so what is that like for you? Because this is a fun company right now. They're doing some cool stuff.
It's really cool. I've known about Tom for probably, you know, since he's was going through Diamond back in the day. I'm a cover hunter. I basically find artists that I like, and I just go after covers that they do. I'm a big Jeff Scott Campbell fan, and Tom actually got Jeff Scott Campbell to do a whole bunch of covers for when he first came out with his Scheherazade. So I actually got that whole set. I got like every edition, you know, the black and the white ones and everything. BDI has been on my radar for quite some time now. You know, I never really pictured myself working with them and with Tom, and it's actually really cool. The caliber of artists that you know, I get to be paired up with and be beside is something that is a dream as an artist, you know, especially as a comic book artist. So it's been great company. It's been great product. And it's a good ride. I really like it.
So to even go further into that too, because, and I'm curious on both of you on this, is that what is that like to, you know, work for somebody, and for Tom to have somebody who actually knows your product? Because sometimes an artist does not know a publisher's product. Sometimes they're not a fan. And then obviously if you're a fan, you know what Critter is supposed to look like. You know what Critter would do. You've read Critter, you know, you understand what Ursa Minor is supposed to do. So when you're creating a cover, you know, I think that's a real advantage, because you get an idea saying, cool, I know how this character should sound, look, thinks, and then obviously you can produce a cover to that. And obviously, I mean, I know you did Blue Jay, and Blue Jay wasn't, you know, built out yet. And I think you did her first cover, and it might even been one of her first appearances. So that
he's the only one to do Blue Jay in any capacity at this point, except for the interiors when we did Camp Crossover, which was Chloe's first appearance in a story, which is Blue Jay's alter ego. So Jason Hayher drew that story. But as far as all the cover art, Brian's the only person to do Blue Jay so far.
There's one. There was the mystery box you had.
Oh yeah, that's right. But again, that's Chloe. So as far as like the costume, the actual Blue Jay costume right there, yeah. So there's been a couple of Chloe out of uniform things, but as far as in uniform, yeah, Brian's done all the Blue Jay stuff.
But yeah. So even going back to the question though, I mean, what is that like though, that you have somebody who actually knows your work and doesn't just know it because you sent them a bunch of comics digitally, but has read this and has been a fan? Because I think it's a real advantage when somebody actually knows who they're working with and they know their work, you know. And I think, yeah.
Sorry, Don, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Please cut me off anytime. I'm totally happy with it.
You know, as far as knowing all of Tom's characters, I don't necessarily know all of them. You know, some of them are new. Some of them are new to me. I'm the type of artist who does a lot of research. When I get assigned a project, you I put a lot of hours into looking at what other people have done with that character, and then trying to come up with something that I can kind of put my own stamp on, but still keep her true to her character. So most of my studying doesn't really necessarily come through reading the books, but seeing what other artists have done to interpretate that character. And it's just, each project, I'd say probably anywhere from 4 to 20 hours goes into just looking up stuff. When I get to do a character over and over again, it gets a little easier. Like I've done Dorothy Gale from The Wizard of Oz. Of course, I've done Blue Jay quite a few times. Once I know the character and I have a feel for her, it's a little easier to cruise through it. But there's definitely research that goes into every piece.
No. That makes sense. And obviously, I mean, when you're building a cover, and then obviously when you go and come onto Kickstarter, and obviously this Kickstarter is past 20 grand. I don't know what did one of the Oz's do? What did the last Oz campaign do? Off the top of your head?
20. I don't know. Over 20, in 20 to 25, something like that.
But like when you're doing, 25,000, and then did one of them do 30? I think at some point.
We've had a few that have hit 30. Yeah, we've had a few that have hit 30. Yeah.
So it's obviously a lot of people are backing it. A lot of people are seeing your work. So what is that like too? And then for both of you again, what is that like? Really giving all these cover artists an opportunity to shine.
Oh yeah, the last one we did 33 for Oz.
Because it's very interesting. I mean, obviously for you, Brian, I mean, you're getting a real opportunity, and a lot of people are seeing your work. And for Tom, I mean, you're really getting the chance, and I feel like paying it back to some degree, of letting an artist who really hasn't been discovered become discovered in a way. And I think it's very cool how this relationship has developed and worked, because that's something that I feel, it's a little bit risky sometimes to let a undiscovered artist who hasn't done a cover or has only done a few be on a campaign, and then you're going to be doing $25,000, $30,000, $33,000. It's not a joke anymore, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's there's a how to explain this. There's always a must for finding new people, if only because I can't always have Mike DeBalfo on a campaign. It's not a guy that I can have on every single campaign, which means if I go 5 campaigns and I get him on one, that means 4 other campaigns immediately have an opening. And as you start to use particularly some of these larger names, talented guys that have demand on them, you might only get them once or twice a year. So you've got to fill out your campaigns with amazing art with people that in a lot of cases your audience doesn't know. And there's a risk reward to it. And it's something that we've dealt with as Big Dog Inc. from the beginning, because we were always using artists at the beginning that most of the time people didn't know who they were. We found Jen Broomall. We found Natalie Sanders. We had a lot of guys that we started with at the beginning that were, some of them had done some like Zenoscope work and so on. There was a little bit of overlay. And then we got very lucky to work with Nia Rufino, who came on and blew us up because we just immediately recognized her talent. And I was like, okay, you're working on everything. But even then she didn't really work on everything necessarily. So I'm always on the lookout for new people. And I've had some new people in the last few books. Like we had Eisenhower Adamar has come on. People didn't know who he was a few books ago. And now he had one of the biggest selling books on the Princesses versus Zombies. He has the biggest selling book right now on Ursa Minor. He's doing the Bride's book. So here's a guy that came out of nowhere. He's done a few things, and now people are responding to him because I kept going back to him. We had Narcelio Sousa, who's done one book for us, but people reacted immediately when he was on the Princess versus Zombies. They were like, yo, this is really good. So I'm always kind of trying to find these guys to fill in the gaps while I'm over here saying, okay, let's put Nei on. Okay, let's put Brian on. Okay, can we get a big name of some kind this time? And if not, okay, then we fill it out with other people. But there is a risk reward, because if people don't know who they are, it's not always as easy to attach, hey, you got to get this book because you know who this is. It's like, hey, you don't know who this is, buy his book. And the art has to be really good for people to be like, okay, I'm going to pay attention to this.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. And I also think that, if you keep going back to the same bullpen, I use a baseball analogy, Jacob deGrom, I'm a Mets fan. It gets to a point where a pitcher gets old. And if you don't build your bullpen, you don't build
100%.
And so I think that's sometimes a mistake that people make. And I think it's very important. I mean, I'm constantly looking for new people on this show. And I like going back to old people and people who have been returning, but I'm also looking for new talent every single year because it gets stale. And I hate to say this, but like sometimes also some of these guys, when they're doing so many covers, it starts looking generic and it's not new, it's not fresh.
Well, and some of that is not the artist's fault. Some of that is just art direction, which I have talked about a lot on these shows. I feel like there is next to no art direction anymore. A lot of people are coming in and just being like, do whatever you want. And I'm like, what happens if you tell 5 people do whatever you want and they all turn in the same pose, the same angle? It's just like, you got to art direct a little bit to kind of get things out of people. I've had people tell me like, how do you get like this out of this guy? Because every time he does it with somebody else, it looks different. And I'm like, because I art direct, I come in with a concept, or I come in with an angle. I come in with something that I already have in my brain. We want to do this. And then that gives them something to run off of. And that doesn't mean that they're restricted to like, do this right here, but they know they have something to start from versus just like, oh, blank page, I'm going to do the easiest possible thing. And that's it. So like even with Marissa Pope, I wanted to play into the fun nonsense of TikTok with all the dancing girls. And so I told Marissa Pope that I was like, and she was like, well, I don't have TikTok. I'm like, that's fine. I got you covered. Don't worry. So I told her, I was like, this is what they do. They do these dances or whatever. And so I want to do a pose that's very, very obviously this TikTok thing. And she was like, cool, show me what we got. And I showed her a few videos and stuff. And she was like, I got it. And she turned in a perfect TikTok dancing vampire cover. And it looks amazing. And Nia Ruffino colored it. And it's almost sold out already. We made 50. They're almost sold out. And so again, you have to come in with a concept and then let the artist breathe within the concept. Otherwise, you just have stuff that just looks like the same, like not just even within the campaign, that one campaign, but every single time you go down the line, it's like, dude, I've seen this before. Like, do we have other poses? Do we understand that the camera moves and we can kind of come at things differently? Like, that's always been in my brain when we do these things is how do we sort of push the artistic envelope?
It also goes to the idea that obviously when you bring somebody into your campaign too, if everything looks the same, you got 5 covers that looks the same, they might not want to add on an additional cover. They might not want to pick up the whole set.
Right.
Because they're like, well, you know what, if I'm getting one, they look the same. And I like, all 5 of them, but they all look the same. So do I really need another 4 that look the same, or do I want to add something on?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, if you could add 2, 3, 4 covers, and add-ons, all of a sudden, I mean, that's more money. It funds your Kickstarter. And I think that's important too. But even going to Brian on this, I mean, what is that like for you to get direction and then also get your juices flowing to some degree when Tom tells you how to do a cover, or says, hey, I'm thinking about this concept, and then cool, that's cool. And then obviously, how do you jump off of that? Because I've seen plenty of talented artists on other campaigns. I'm not going to mention who it is because I don't want to get anybody in too much trouble here, but they can produce an amazing cover, but they had no direction on it. I'm like, that's kind of painful to see a great artist fail and not have a good cover when they can do it. So I'm curious how you approach that and even how that affects you in your planning.
Sure. So, I mean, everybody you work with is different. I'm going to tell you right now, a majority of the other publishers besides Tom that I've worked with have no direction at all. They just ask you if you're willing to do a piece, and you say, hey, what are you looking for? They're like, I don't know, show me what you got. And so you just kind of, you come up with some sketches or whatever. Very, very few. Like I've even worked with Lady Death and Brian Polito, and you know, it was just kind of with him, it was what I could come up with, and he would yay or nay it. So working with Tom, it's sometimes like a college project. You know, you get an assignment and you have to complete it. You know, kind of a certain way, not necessarily always the exact way Tom's looking for. He does give you freedom to come up with it and put your own unique spin on it. But there's usually a concept, like he said, behind each piece. He's got an idea of what he wants each artist to kind of pull off. And then, you know, we get our freedom from there to, you know, come up with unique pose and whatever. And, you know, sometimes I'll do quite a few concept sketches for, you know, I've had anywhere, you know, on an easy piece, I'll do like 2 or 3, but on a complex piece, sometimes I've had, you know, 10 or more sketches that we have to go through to find the right one. So,
oh yeah, just the one that you just did, the Baywatch one. It took a while just to find the right, you know, running pose to get the feel of movement and you know, all of that. This was not as easy as it looks, and it took us a while to get there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's really, really hard to find an attractive picture of any female running. You know, it's a hard pose to make attractive and you know, artistic. It was definitely a challenge in a way. I tried to capture some movement. I've seen Frank Cho do some good running girls where, you know, he captures the sway nicely. I tried to capture a little bit of that. I don't think I got it as good as Frank Cho does it, but yeah, definitely that one was a little tougher of a project assignment for sure.
And even to go into even just the creation, and obviously with most people you work with, you don't have any direction. I mean, I would imagine that it's somewhat of a breath of fresh air when somebody gives you an idea as well, where somebody's, you know, telling you, hey, I want this concept, because you now know what they want. Because I would find it to be stressful when somebody's like, here's a blank canvas, have fun. Because nobody wants to fail at their job. And obviously my boss, you know, last week told me what he wanted me to do at my job. And so it's frustrating because I'm trying to figure out how to do it, but I know the end result, if that makes any sense. And so it's very relieving to know some direction and some guidance, but still have some freedom. So I would imagine that relieves stress as an artist.
It does, and it's kind of, it can go both ways. Sometimes as an artist, you just want to be completely free, and you do want to just do whatever comes to mind. And, you know, not necessarily every project I get to do that. But the one thing that it really does do is it really helps you grow as an artist. If you keep your comfort level where you want it all the time, you're not going to grow as much as if you have to constantly push yourself out and do new things that may be challenging or out of your ordinary, you know, whatever your ordinary thing is. And so honestly, I think Tom has really helped me grow as an artist more than anybody else that I've worked with, because he's always pushing me to do these things that I probably wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah, I've got him doing another 360 matrix thing that'll be coming out later in the year. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, and what is that like too? Because I mean, I think you created that. I didn't see anything like that before. I know that you created the first one, I think.
I'm going to pat myself on the back for it, because I don't think I've ever seen it before, and Brian pulled it off like holy shit! Like that was incredible. I mean, the set is crazy. For those that don't know, it was Princess Day in 2020, and we did so the idea is you have a cover, right? So here's the cover, and you have, you know, Cinderella, and she's the focus, right? And then behind her to the sides, you see Mrs. White and Bella Rose. So that's your cover, right? And then you shift and you go, now Bella Rose is in the front and the other two are in the back, but it's all the exact same pose. So it's like a photograph all the way around in a 360 realm. It's not new poses and everything. It's like we have snapped this from three positions at the exact same time. And it came out like just ridiculously good. And then we did another one for the Legend of Oz. So it was Glinda, General Ginger, and Dorothy on the Yellow Brick Road doing a spin. And now we're doing another one, which I'm not telling anyone what it is yet, but it will be for we tend to do these special days throughout the year, like Goth Day and Princess Day and so on. So we have a brand new day that'll be later this year, and these 3 covers will be part of that day.
Yeah, and even throwing it to Brian too. What is that like to kind of invent a new concept? Because I never saw anything like that. I know a bunch of people probably also didn't see anything of the 360 cover, is what I call it, and also doing something that people were like, "Oh, I've never seen anything like that." It's an attraction. It's also a skill in a lot of ways, and also people get it instantly too. Is the other thing where it's hard when you see it to not get it and be like, "Oh, that's interesting," and even just to conceptualize it and come up with it, and even to deliver on it, because somebody could have a great concept but not deliver on it. And with these covers, and it's been 2 so far, I mean, they're really well done.
Thank you. It's a challenge. That first set was the hardest art project that I've ever had so far, hands down. It was a lot of hard work, and a lot of time went into those 3 covers trying to get it right. And surprisingly enough, I think there was only one thing that Tom saw that wasn't quite right out of the whole thing, that I had to do a little touch up on. But most of it went together pretty well and pretty smooth. It just took some time. As far as being the first artist to do it, I'm completely honored, and it's kind of something like I like to wear as a medal. I don't take full credit for it ever, because it was Tom's idea, but I'm the first person to actually pull it off and do it, and I'm actually very, very proud of that. All my 360-degree sets that I got as comps are pretty much sold. I think I have 1 or 2 sets of the second set left, and they're all gone. I show everybody at the conventions. I spread the word, and people really like it, and they think it's a really cool concept. I did a lot of research before we started it, and I tried to see if I could find anything that anybody else had done like it. There was nothing. We've got the front and back poses, where the front of the cover will be the front image, and the back you see the back side of the character. Of course, we've got the connecting covers where it makes one big image. The only sort of 360-degree pose things that I saw are designs for statues. If you look at sculptors and Jeff Scott Campbell, for example, I'll reference him again. He does all those fairy tale statues. He does that multiple angle thing, but not once has those ever been used as a cover. Those are just concept designs for the 3-dimensional sculpt. So, I did a lot of time and labor looking into this, and we are the first.
No, it's a really interesting concept, and again, I've never seen anything like that before. I've seen a lot of fun things. I've seen weird stuff. I've seen connecting covers vertically, which are always cool. I've seen 4 connecting covers, which is always fun. I've seen the 3, obviously the 2.
We did 7 connecting covers. Thank you. 7 connecting covers. Mr. Ryan Kincaid did a Penny for Your Soul set of At the Bar with 7 connecting covers.
I've seen.
We're not ridiculous at all here at Big Dog.
I've seen a 10 set of connecting covers, and that was The Walking Dead, and that was crazy, and that was cool, but it was a lot. It is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, 7's a lot, 10's a lot. 3 is pushing it. I feel right now, to be honest, at this point. 2 is perfect. But yeah, no, I just think it's interesting. And I think that when you go into Kickstarter in particular, in my opinion, and I might be in the minority, Kickstarter is more of a novelty, I feel, and it's also a choice. And people who come to Kickstarter want that cool shit, in a lot of ways. And I feel like people have to bring their game. And I feel like at that point, when you're doing 7 connecting covers, it's like, cool, you're stepping up and you're saying, I want to compete, I want to earn your dollar. Because I am not, if I'm a comic fan, I mean, the first place typically people go to and have gone to is their local comic shop or an online comic shop. And then Kickstarter, and things have changed slightly, but I think people think of a local comic shop, and on Kickstarter, you have to earn people's money. And this is the way you earn people's money.
You've got to stand out. You've got to stand out among the crowd anywhere you are. It doesn't matter where you are. You always have to try and stand out. So anything that you can do artistically to create images that are eye-catching, number one, and number two, just sort of creative and inventive in what you're presenting. It's hard to do things that have never been done or have never been seen. It's very, very difficult. And so sometimes you kind of have to move towards oddball stuff, outside the box stuff, like we do with these weird days. And that sort of allows us to immediately take a concept and be like, okay, this is like we did like Princess Day, right? So we did our Princesses versus Zombies. We did Bikini Day. So we did Critter in a Bikini. We did Goth Day. Goth Day became a gigantic annual event when we did Goth Day. And so this year, Brian's got a new day that I think people will be attracted to for the nostalgia of it. I think people will be attracted to it because it's going to be the booties, just sort of as a natural, but again, not because we're putting booties on it, because it's a natural element of what this particular day is and how we're designing it. It's not just like, well, let's put some butts on the cover. It's like, no, we kind of like have to do it this way. But I think that's going to be part of the fun. And it'll be a 360 thing with multiple BDI characters. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, no, I think that I agree. And it's just super important. It's super important to stand out. But I do want to talk about rewards because you got a lot of them. So there's this right here, which is the cover A, I want to say.
Yep, that's your A cover, your 910A cover. We always do just your basic easy book. So if you don't want a variant cover, you can just come in with the basic easy book. All the prices that we have also include your shipping. So, if it says $25, that's $25. There's no 25 plus 5 or any of that. It's just that's your price. And now if you're out of the country, obviously that's a different story. But the basic prices are your basic prices.
And then this right here, which is the Bride.
And this is sold out, actually. As of today, this is sold out as a reward. You can still get the single version with the logo, and you can still get the combo as an add-on, but the add-ons are almost sold out as well. So if you guys like this cover, and this is Eisenetto Adamar, this is the guy we were talking about earlier, who's really picked up in popularity. If you still want this, you have to use it as an add-on, or you can get the basic logo book all by itself. Or it's also available in the entire, like you can get all the covers in one package. It's still available in that as well.
And that's the thing that I like about you, and I'm curious also about Brian, your opinion on this. Oh, I love that flames. I love that. It's so distracting. So distracting. I'm like a kid. It's just terrible. But one of the things is that I am a buyer seller. I buy a lot of variants. I sell variants, and it's a very lucrative business because people want it. And a lot of these books are kept at $150, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know $150 or less. Yeah.
I know the cover A this is $400, but the rest I think are $150. And speaking about protecting value and collectability, that's a big thing where even if you're not selling, you want to know that there's only so many of this cover because you want to feel that I'm coming, I'm supporting Big Dog Inc. I'm supporting Tom. I'm supporting Brian. Your cover, and I don't want you to print 10,000 of these books. It doesn't make it fun. It doesn't make it cool. You don't feel like you're in the club anymore.
Yeah, we limit everything. We write on the back of the book how many were made. In some cases, when we get like 50 or less, we'll actually serial number the books. So it'll say like 1 of 50, 2 of 50, and so on. And so like when we do foils and metals, they're all serial numbered. So yeah, we want to make sure that you're getting something that isn't just mass produced, and we're just going back to print all the time. It's like you're going to get 100, 150 of these, and that's it, guys. And that's all there is. So yeah.
Because I just think it's a big thing, and people obviously, and look, I come from the investing world and all that stuff, so I'm a little bit different. Where I'm a firm believer that everything eventually will be sold in a collection, whether it's 10 years from now or 30. And some of your books are worth a lot of money. I mean, there are books that are impossible to find.
Yeah.
That Big Dog Inc. has done, and I forget which one it is, but it's like a homage, and you know the book I'm talking about, right, Tom?
We've done a few homages. What?
I think it was like a Todd McFarlane homage.
Oh yeah, the Critter number 4. Critter
Yeah.
number 4 is very hard to find. It's the Spider-Man number 1 homage. Very tough to find. Not as expensive though. We have 2 hyper expensive books. One of them is Natalie Sanders' Ursa Minor. It's the what we call the Take Me Home edition. We had them at Comic-Cons, and basically, if you spent $50 at the booth, you got the book for free. And it was a werewolf schoolgirl kind of half transforming, and I don't remember, there was 100 of them, and those things generally when you find them raw are running about $500, like easily $500. And then the other one is Shannon Mayer's first ever cover, when he kind of made a splash doing stuff for other companies, and people started figuring out that his first ever cover was that Dorothy cover for our Legend of Oz book. Holy crap. There's one on eBay right now that's graded for like $2,500. So yeah, there's a few that are.
There's another 2 that are really speculative. It's the Keith Garvey with the action figure Critter books. And just on just on history with some other companies that have done action figures. Action figure comics that typically are tied to action figures do well statistically, and I know because I've sold a few of them. And I don't have any doubt that the Critter books are going to do fine. I have no doubt in my mind, whether it's in 6 months from now or 3 years, they're going to be sought after.
Yeah, it's a great cover. He did a great job on it. It's super, super cool.
And so that's just something to keep in the back of the head, where it is a desirable book. And it's going to continue to be that way because it's connected to something that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is that Big Dog Inc. right now is probably at an all-time low in visibility. This might sound weird to say, but because we're not in comic book stores, we're not going through Diamond or Lunar, we're not in stores. All the people that were buying us when we were in comic shops, probably 75% of those people don't even know we exist anymore. So the larger that we get through just continuing to do stuff, I get people all the time that find me and they're like, dude, I didn't even know you were still around. And I'm like, I mean, social media, we're here. I mean, we haven't left, I don't know how we missed you. So it literally happens all the time. And so the longer we have this sort of grassroots growth, like we had at the very, very beginning of Big Dog Inc., the more people are going to be like, holy shit, what did I miss over the last 5 years? And those books are going to just start going whoop, and they're going to disappear because we do less of them now than we did originally. We used to do like 250 when we did Comic-Con variants. Now we do like 150. And like I said, in some cases, the foils are like 50 copies or less. This stuff is going to skyrocket once we sort of regain some of the visibility that, we haven't been able to get back yet.
And so what is that like for you, Brian? Because obviously when you have a 200 print run or 150 print run, I mean, obviously there's built-in value, there's net value. And also, I mean, one of the best things I think for any company and any artist is knowing that your work is very tradable. It's a commodity and that it's going up in value and people want that book and they're willing to pay good money for it. Because I think that's a massive compliment when somebody says, look, I'm willing to pay $70 for a book that was $25 on Kickstarter a year ago on eBay. And I know you don't see any of that money, but even still, it means that you're in demand and people want that cover and they have a connection to it. And I think it's a healthy thing in a lot of ways when that happens.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. You know, I have a lot of artists that I follow that I've watched that happen with all of their books, and to know that that's happening with some of my books as well is a really cool thing to experience. Every now and then I do go on eBay and just kind of see what eBay's got going down, and it's always kind of fun to check out and see who's got what out there. I like your little smile. But it's a really cool experience as far as being an artist in general. Just seeing your stuff resell and be out there, and people are interested in it.
Yeah, no, I think it's fascinating, and I think that, you know, it's good for artists, and I also think that it's a good barometer when you know your cover is going for $7,500 on eBay. You know, it's very important because I'm a strong free market guy, and so obviously when I buy and sell and I pick up people's covers, I pay attention to things, and I'm like, okay, this is a person to look for, and I even just scroll through eBay, and I'm like, cool, this cover's going for this, and this is what it's going for that. And, you know, I'm like, cool, who should I be looking at? And obviously at some point I'm going to produce a book, and I'm not going to go on DeviantArt. I'm not going to go on Facebook. I'm not looking at Instagram. I'm going to be looking at eBay. And then I'm going to be looking at saying, cool, whose art style is doing cool? And then also I'm going to look for people similar. And I'm going to try to find that. I'm going to use that as my barometer because I think that's going to dictate everything. And I know everybody's like, that's a bad idea, Andrew. That's a bad idea. But I've been known to produce a bunch of bad ideas that have worked out nicely for me. So,
yeah, the resale market is something that a lot of people don't understand the value of it. I've seen creators get upset that people are buying Kickstarter books and then flipping them on eBay for like twice the money. And I'm like, you got to think about what that means, dude. It's you didn't lose money. You got the money that you wanted for the book. And now what you're being shown is that there is a market for what you produced beyond what you even had any idea existed. Big Dog Ink books have been bought, sold, and traded on eBay for basically our entire existence of 13 years now. So, and even now, I go and watch eBay and I see what's out there. And there are books that I have not seen on eBay in 10 years. Like they simply are not there. Or if they do make it on there, like those Natalie Sanders books, they go for astronomical money. And I don't sit there going, man, damn it, I'm not making that money. I'm just like, geez, people want BDI books, man.
I mean, I think it's a problem. And I think that people, when they get upset, it's, you know, they don't get it. And it's like, you don't realize that you created a commodity. You created a tradable book. You've done what is the ultimate goal, you know, because that means that you have produced something of value that people perceive that missed, and there you go. And that's a good thing. That means that you are worth something, and that means that you can either demand more money or you could figure out a way how to return value to your customers. Or if you have some of these books, you can play in it too. And I don't get why people view that as a negative.
Well, I think it's just a personal thing. It's an internal thing. It's like they want whoever to buy the book to love the book and put it in their collection and like, hey, I've got whatever book it is, you know. So they kind of take it personally that it's been passed on down the line. And I'm like, man, no one from Marvel or DC is worrying about the fact that their books are in dollar bins. You know, like it's just, this is just the market and how comics, you know, roll through this wave of it comes out, it gets bought, it gets read, it gets moved on. And that's just comics.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I like making money. I make a lot of money selling books, and I love comics, but I love money more. And I'm not going to pretend here. And but there are certain books I won't sell. Like I have a nice green foil from you that's a 50 limited, and I have no desire to sell that one because I love that cover. I love it. It's like a cute little scarecrow girl, and like,
oh yeah, it's a great cover.
oh, it's fantastic. And in green, emerald green, I think there was like another version. I didn't like the other version of that. I was just like,
well, there's just the regular, there's the green, and then there's just the metal. That's the three that we generally do.
Yeah, the metal didn't do it for me. Like if you're talking about the Wizard of Oz, you have to do it in emerald green.
Oh sure, yeah. Sorry. That's why we did those things.
But I digress. Obviously, there's this cover right here. And unfortunately, we can't show any more of it because I do not support guns because I don't have any. No. We could talk about it, but I think it's MR Gun, right?
It is MR Gun. That's correct. Yeah. It's another guy that kind of came out of nowhere for us back in 2020. And we've been just feeding him work ever since. He actually just finished something special for us that our Patreon members are going to get to see soon. Like when we did Princesses versus Zombies, Jesse Wichman designed the princesses for us one at a time, and we released them as art prints. We didn't put them on comic books. They were just art prints. Here's the character. Here's the print. If you want it, you can buy it. And then, of course, that became a comic book later. So MR Gunn is now doing the same thing for us. He's designing 4 characters. They will all be released as art prints throughout the year. And our Patreon folks are going to get to see that very soon. The first one's done. And we'll be making our announcements on how we're going to handle that pretty soon. But yeah, he's spectacular. Love what he does, and we're just going to keep feeding him work.
And then there's this right here, and I love the version of this.
Yeah, this is Jason Hayher, who's been doing a lot of stuff for us as well, and Sanju Nivengoon on the colors.
Sanju's arguably the best colorist in comics, arguably. I mean, it's him, Nei, and there's one other. There's one other.
Saving Rich, she's pretty good too.
She's good too. She's great.
Well, I'll tell you that Elenia DiNapoli is spectacular. I'll tell you that Gat Melvin is spectacular. These are people that we work with all the time. Elenia is on pretty much all of Brian's stuff. She does another one of the covers that's in here. The other Jason Hayher came out unbelievably cool. That one right there. I mean, this is like probably one of the top 5 covers we have ever done in the history of Big Dog Inc. This is such a comic book. I can't even tell you how freaked out I am that this is like, oh my God, this is like a real comic, man. It's so spectacular. And this was a piece that Jason did by himself. He just messaged me one day and was like, I've never drawn Naomi before, so I'm just going to draw her. And I was like, yeah, go for it, man. And so he showed me some stuff, and I was like, well, this. Okay, cool. He got the pose. I gave him a reference for the costume. And when he got the figure done, I was like, holy crap, that's awesome, dude. Let's make that like a pinup in the book. And he's like, yeah, that's great. And so 2 days later, he turns it back in, and it has all of that background and all of like the speed lines and stuff. And I was like, well, shit, dude, now it's a cover.
You're like, fuck, I got to do another cover. God,
it's a cover. I was like, that's it. Like, we're putting it in the campaign, man. And
this is what really happened, guys. Tom was like, I got a problem. I got to make it another cover.
No, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. The problem was I needed a lycanthrope cover, and I didn't have one because the artist that I was going to do it wasn't happening. And then here comes Jason out of the blue drawing her. And I was like, this is all synergy, man. All of this was like, it all happened for a reason. And boom, it is easily one of my top 5. I smile every time I look at it. And when you guys see it like up close, it's going to blow your mind. The details. I mean, this is like straight out of Art Adams' playbook. It's fantastic. Love it. I love it. I love it to death.
It really is a comic book cover.
Totally.
And not to say anything else isn't.
But we understand what that means, right? Like, and I'm not talking about like a modern. I'm talking about like 70s, 80s, which is where I came from comics mostly. It's like that could be put on, that could say Marvel Comics, DC Comics. That could be anything. That is so amazing. And again, when you see it up close, you see the line work. It's like, fuck, man.
Well, it's
That's
kind of
great.
got like that Spider-Man energy. You know, there's different kinds of covers. You know, we got the pinup covers and
Yep.
all that. They don't, you know, they're a whole different side of comics, I feel like. But as far as Tom goes back to that other one, it's totally got that Marvel feel. I feel like you could have like Spider-Man on the other side of that being like, oh no, spider sense tingling or something, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yes.
There's been a few covers I've seen like that, and you know, they're just wonderful covers. They're just wonderful covers, and straight out of a comic book. And then there's this right here, which is Keith Garvey.
Keith Garvey. Yep. We had had the idea of basically vampire hitchhiking, and so it's hard to see, but above vampire love stories there, it says hitched on Route 666. So yeah, this one came out really nice too. Love Keith's stuff.
And then Keith is fantastic. Everything that guy touches is just fantastic. And then we got, you know, some graveyard stuff. Is this the 3 set?
Mm-hmm. Yep. This is a connecting set. So we did one of these for each campaign. So the first 2 we don't have many left. So I think we put up like 25 sets to be able to get the first 2 if you miss them. So there's like 25 sets available. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be hard to get the whole set.
And then there's this as well.
Right. So that's the quick catch up. So that's the last 3 issues that we did. Just this complete arc. So again, it's 100 pages of comic book story. And that's an easy way to just try the book out. If you want to just try it, and then if you like it, you know, you can go back and get the rest of the books.
And then there's this right here, which is a bunch.
So that's everything. Yeah. So if you want to go all in, you can go all in and get all of the Ursa Minor books that we've done. Yeah.
So that's that. And then this is the fun stuff right here.
Yep. That's the Marissa Pope TikTok cover. Now, this is the Virgin edition, which is available as a foil, but the TikTok edition it literally looks like it's a TikTok screen. So it has like the graphics down the side and at the bottom. So it's designed to be like she's dancing on TikTok. But we did do the Virgin edition as a holofoil as well.
And then obviously, I don't know which one is in the mystery box, which is
the TikTok version is in the mystery box. Yeah. And
so even to talk about that, I mean, you got a mystery version, which basically has 8 books,
10.
and then 1 ultra rare, and then the TikTok. So
yeah, right. So it's 8 miscellaneous books, variant covers from 8 different titles. So it's a really great sort of starter set as well. If you're not familiar with Big Dog Ink, then you're going to get guaranteed either a metal or a holofoil, something like less than 50 copies. And then you'll get that TikTok dancer exclusive that's only in the box. That's it.
And then correct me if I'm wrong. The 8 titles have a print run less than 250, right?
Yeah, generally speaking, it's just whatever books we have around from those titles, and they'll be 250 or less generally. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then people who have been on this are Keith Garvey, CB Zane.
I mean the list is endless. Keith Garvey, Zane, Jose Luis. God, I'm just trying to. Brian Peterson will be in there. I'm just trying to think of names now that we've used. Pedro Perez, Nia Rufino, on and on and on and on and on. So the mixture, again, it's just random books, but it'll be from 8 different titles. So you get Critter, Penny for Your Soul, Ursa Minor, Legend of Oz, Lights, Camera, Jungle, Kaiju Epic, so on and so on and so on.
And so obviously, I mean, I've backed, I think, 3, maybe 4 of your titles. So statistically, I'm going to want...
It'll probably all be new to you. Yeah.
It would be really interesting if something was not new to me in there.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, that's kind of cool. But I wouldn't mind it because it's not a big deal. And, you know, the saying is that, and I'm very honest with this, is that if I got a duplicate, I would just sell the duplicate out and problem solve. So obviously that's just me. But I'm really interested in this one right here because in the TikTok version, because that's fun, and the metal/foil should be fun too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, but yeah, so that's that. And then we have this, which is your boy Shannon Mayer.
Yeah, so that was Shannon's cover that we did for volume 2 way back in the day. So when we do these anniversary celebrations, we do a few of these things that we call retro foils, because back in the day we weren't doing holofoils or metals or anything. So we take an older cover and we do it a foil. So this is a holofoil. That's the original art, of course, but it'll be a holofoil, limited to quantities ordered, which right now I think is around 50 copies currently on order. And when the campaign's over, that's it. You won't have a chance to get them again.
And I think this one's also similar, which is more of a blood foil.
Right, blood foil. So this will be like a red holofoil over the top. Yep. We've done blood foils for all the Ursa Minor books.
And so that's just something that if you're a collector and you want something.
Yeah, we do very, very limited editions on those books. So if you want stuff that's awesome art, unique presentation, and super limited, then our foils and metals are super limited. Like our metals are generally like 10 to 15 copies.
And so obviously there's that, and then a lot of fun stuff's in there, and then obviously there's also a bunch of digital stuff.
Sure, well. If you're a digital person, or like a lot of people from overseas, they're like, dude, I can't pay $80 in shipping, so just give me the digital stuff so I can read it. And I'm like, yeah, we can do digitals, absolutely.
And then I'm sure that if somebody wants something digital that's not on this campaign, or they want something, everything could be worked out hopefully in the long run. And then but I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah. Well, we don't do a lot of digital stuff. So generally speaking, if you want digital stuff, you got to get it during the campaign. We don't have like all this stuff digital on our website or anything. Like I hate digital comics. So in my brain, I'm like, I don't even want to bother with it. But we do make it during our campaigns because we have a lot of people overseas that we've seen are like, yeah, dude, I'm like in the UK and I don't want to spend, I want the books, but I can't spend the shipping. And I'm like, I get it. Here's your digital option.
It's crazy. Canada, it's $25-$30 to ship it. I backed the campaign from Canada, and the book and the shipping were the same price. And I'm like,
yeah, yeah, it's harsh. It's harsh, but it is what it is. So,
And so I'm waiting until the person has a complete set. And I said to the person, I said, I expect you to have a full set for me, because this way I don't have to kill myself on the shipping, because 8 books is the same as shipping 1. So, and then I have a friend down in Australia, and he noticed that too, where.
Australia is terrible. Australia is like, yeah, it's, I mean, and granted, it's like, it's the middle of nowhere, but it's the highest price shipping there is in the world, basically, right now.
Funny story about Australia is that I ordered a Pop Funko when they had those forest fires, and there was a Pop Funko of a firefighter, and it had a koala holding its leg. So the Pop Funko was coming from Australia. It's shipped in the worst way possible, and it's only shipped in a cardboard box, essentially, like a Funko protector, no protection otherwise, comes perfect. I ordered something from New Jersey, and I'm in DC. The thing came wrecked, and it was packed like to like the teeth in bubble wrap, and I'm like, how the fuck did this happen? So if a book is coming from Australia, I guarantee you it's going to arrive perfectly for me. I guarantee you, if a book's coming from Jersey, you're fucked.
I don't know. It might be them Jersey folk.
That's just Jersey. Out there. That's just Jersey.
I hate shipping comic books to New Jersey too. Every time I ship a comic book to New Jersey, I have it insured now. It's nothing against New Jersey. It's just that
it's absolutely something against New Jersey.
I just think there's some shady shit going on there, everybody. That's all I'm saying.
All I know is right now in the U.S., there's so much turnover that all the post people are probably brand new people who don't really care that much. So all the packages that go through, just cross your fingers.
No, if you insure it, they don't touch it. They don't steal it. They're like, it's insured. We're fucked. And so there you go. That's why you have to insure everything that goes through New Jersey. Once you do that, they don't steal it. They're like, we don't want to pay for it. It's great. That's all I'm going to say about New Jersey, everybody. But obviously, you do something also very interesting, and I'm very confused on it. And I've seen this before as well. But what's the deal with your level 1 stretch goals? And I don't know if we got to a level 2, because I'm so confused on this.
So level 2 stretch goals we've done a couple of times, and basically we had some levels where if you're spending $75 or more on the campaign, there's a bigger goal, sort of, which in the past we've done. Like for Oz, we did one where we printed the was it volume 5 stretch goals, or volume 5 for Legend of Oz, the trade paperback we printed. And so anybody that spent $75 or more got a special variant cover of that trade paperback. That's like, it's a stretch goal, but it's not for the people that have spent like $20. You have to spend a certain amount to get that double stretch goal. And so we have to see sort of how the campaigns roll, if level 2 stretch goals are even possible. And it is definitely possible that we might end up doing one for this. All the standard stretch goals, you spend $25, you're going to get. We've unlocked 7 stretch goals. So there's 4 magnets. There is I'm trying to think of what there was. There was 3 magnets. Then there was like a card, and then there was another magnet. So there's 4 poker chips, a card. There was a dual poker chip that we unlocked. That is a sort of a preview for Yeehaw Vampires, which will be part of the BD13 anthology this summer. It'll be a spin-off from Ursa Minor, but it was one of Brian's covers that he did. It was the Dukes of Hazzard homage, and the character was so popular that immediately as I started talking about it with people, I started sort of building this story in my head for her, and so that became Yeehaw Vampires, which will be coming this summer, a little anthology story with some other writers, which we're about to be announcing pretty soon, the other writers in the stories. So keep your eyes open for that. So there's like 7 stretch goals unlocked, and we're now closing in on the 8th, which will be the other one that we unlocked is a trading card. So it's Fabio Samao's original pencil art on a nice matte paper trading card. So it looks like it's original art. So we unlock that, and then there'll be another one of those. That's the next stretch goal, number 8. We'll unlock another one of those. So that's where we're at right now. So yeah, you're already getting a whole bunch of fun bonus items, as well as your books.
No, I just think it's interesting, and I've seen a lot of weird things come out with stretch goals and other things, and also I know people who only back campaigns for stretch goals to some degree, and they try to find campaigns that are dirt cheap with stretch goals. So there you go.
Because they flip the stretch goals to get the money for the book back. That happens all the time. I see stretch goals for Big Dog Inc. all the time, where they're just trying to get their money back because they don't care about stretch goals. And that's the struggle with stretch goals is most of the people buying the books don't give a damn about the stretch goals. I have people message me saying, I think I got the wrong package because it has like stickers and stuff in it. And I'm like, no, that's free stuff for you. And they're just like, they're completely clueless. So stretch goals are sort of a double-edged sword. They're fun to do, and you want to give, again, it's value, right, for what people are spending. But most people just don't care. That's just the reality. They're like, what am I supposed to do with stickers? I don't do anything with stickers. And I'm like, give them to your kid. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, no, it's tricky. I mean, honestly, I like metal cards, but I'm not a sticker guy. Trading cards are okay. I like collecting baseball cards, and I like collecting sports stuff and other weird stuff sometimes, like my bench warmer set, because who doesn't love girls in bikinis? But that's not the point. But I like the poker chip because that's kind of fun.
Hmm?
But
that's become a staple for us, and it didn't plan to be that way. But we did poker chips when we did Penny for Your Soul, which was a Las Vegas book. So it just felt natural to do it. And then when we started to do other books, people were like, oh, you're going to do poker chips for these? And I was like, I guess. Okay. If that's what you want, then we can do it.
It's been copied way too much, though, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Everybody does them. And that's why I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep doing them. But that's the one thing people literally keep asking for is there going to be another poker chip? So clearly with the poker chips, we've reached a point where they're collecting a set of these things, and so I'm like, okay, I like doing them. I think they're fun. It didn't make sense to me to make poker chips that were not part of a Vegas book, but that's the one thing that the fans were like, yeah, dude, give me a poker chip. I'm like, oh, okay, poker chips it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know metal cards are big, people like that, but again, it's tricky, and I like stretch goals, but stickers don't do it for me, and it's complicated. But again, that's a bigger debate. That's my show in like 3 weeks from now. Is we're gonna have a whole show on stretch goals called Embolden Stretch Goals. It's gonna be an adult conversation about stretch goals, everybody. It's gonna be no, it's gonna be actually a very interesting thing.
Oh, it's not going to be. Stretch goals is the most boring discussion topic of all time.
I mean, I had a pretty good first episode talking about AI art, so that was a fascinating discussion. And then I had a discussion about bankruptcy, dealing with Aftershock and Frankie's Comics, and that was also interesting. And then Friday is how to deal with bad actors on Kickstarter. That's going to be fun too. I have a very draconian method how to deal with this problem. But anyway, that's Friday's show, everybody.
One of the things about stretch goals, though, so I like I like the metal cards too. I think they're pretty cool, but they're pretty rare. That you don't really get those offered too often. I also like the enamel pins. Not
pins are cool. Pins are cool, but they're a bitch to ship.
Hell yeah, I'm sure they're expensive too. So, you got to kind of use those as a little bit of an investment. You got to make some money off of it to make it worth doing those pins. But the one thing as a backer, sometimes it's very rare that I back something just for a reward. I don't know if I've ever just backed it just because of a reward, but sometimes those rewards are a good incentive, that just maybe might you cross the line a little bit. You're just like, yeah, since it's maybe I'll back it. Hold on one second. But sometimes you'll get something like, a pencil in there or something big and it's a weird shape, and it will dent your comic, or it'll dent some of your rewards or whatever. And that's the risk you take when you want all that cool stuff and whatever. It can screw up all your other stuff.
Yeah, you got to be really careful when you're doing stuff like pins. You have to pack them even for me, like I pack pins a very specific way with the way that we pack stuff, so that, and we've never had a problem. Actually, I think one time where one of the, I don't know what they call them, the little spine on the back, we had one that was busted one time, but other than that, we really had no problems with them.
So there's two stretch goals. One of them I got. It wasn't a stretch goal. It was a 100 backer goal. So the first 100 backers got a Justin Hampton poster, and he's a rock and roll poster artist. So we actually sent that privately. They're all labeled like number like whatever out of 100. And he sent those privately in a poster too. And that was cool for back in his book. So that's cool when things like that exist, or like a mini print. I love that stuff. And then the one that I wish I backed was Armin, who did a Lunar Smoke, because he sent a shot glass.
Yeah, I got that. That was the craziest thing. He made, so for those that got the mystery box from me, right, you get this nice Big Dog Ink box, right, that we ship stuff in. So he did the same thing. He made Lunar Smoke boxes, and I only bought one of the books. Like, I didn't go crazy. I just bought like one book. I wasn't worried about the stretch goals or anything. I was like, here's this one book, bring it to me. So it shows up in this Lunar Smoke box. And I'm like, you're shipping one book in these boxes like this? And then I open it up, and there's like, the book is in there, and I think there was like a little bit of tissue paper, and then there's the shot glass in the box, just kind of in there, rattling around in the box. And the box itself, the lid, like the lid where you open it, it wasn't even taped. It was just closed, put a sticker on it, and send it off. I was like, how much money did you spend to send this to me with this shot glass? And I was, oh my God, it was crazy. It's crazy. People are crazy.
I was so pissed when you told me that. I'm like, fuck, because I know he worked with a cosplayer who I interviewed, and I'm like, oh man, I should have bought that book. But like, again, there's just so much content that I can't be everywhere. and the book looks good. I mean, it looks like a fun book.
It is a fun book. And Narcelio Sousa is on that book. And I basically got that book and hired him at exactly the same time, because when the book came in, I was like, this looks really familiar. And it was Narcelio on the book. I was like, oh shit, that's synergy again.
But you know, can't be everywhere all at once.
The bottom line is I have the shot glass.
And the bottom line is I'm upset. So I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep after I write my.
I'm gonna take a picture of it tonight. I'm gonna take a shot of like soda, just be like, oh hi.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna cry myself to sleep after I write my 6th interview this week. This week, in 3 days, 6 interviews. There's something fundamentally wrong with me. It probably by Friday I'm gonna add another 2. It's gonna be bad. It's just terrible. But I digress. I do want to know what the current state of comics is, and indie comics and Kickstarter is, because this is a very cheerful approach to life. Whenever I speak, I would ask you about movies, but I believe we would like to end the show on a positive note. So I figured Kickstarter is a better topic.
Oh, I don't care. We can talk whatever you want. I will bring the heat on anything that you want to bring. But I will say that I've been talking to people about sort of where Kickstarter is right now, or Indiegogo and crowdfunding in general. And it's an interesting place right now, especially Kickstarter, because that's what I use primarily.
I mean, you know who I'm having on tomorrow, right?
No,
I'm having Mike Barron on, and that's going to be an interesting topic for the 3rd time. So obviously, I mean, he's very interesting in this space right now too. But
sure. Well, we were just talking about how crowdfunding exploded in 2020, and then to some degree in 2021 it kind of held pace, but now as we're getting to the end of 2020, 2021, and then 2022 kind of started to see a little bit of a change, and especially as we got towards the end of the year, and as we're getting into this year now, we're already halfway through January, and we're at a very, very low point of active campaigns. Normally there's around 200-ish campaigns. And then when we got into 2020, 2021, and the early half of 2020, 2022, those numbers were running an average of 250, 275, and even over 300 campaigns active in a month, every single month, 300, 300, 300, 300. But now, January 2023, we have, the last time I looked, which was today, we have about 160 campaigns actively running in January. That's 160.
Everybody who was a stay-at-home job person had to go back to work now.
That's right. But that's part of it. But I think the other part of it was we had a lot of people that saw folks like myself, like Dan Mendoza, like, you know, whoever were doing campaigns and being successful at it. I think we had a huge glut of people come in and be like, hey man, I can just make a comic and make 20 grand. No, it does not work like that.
I mean, I was speaking, obviously on Friday, I had Bella Rockefeller on, and she's that wrestler. And we were speaking about a very interesting topic where in 2020 and even 2021, a lot of people spend time with themselves. Yeah. And they ask the question, what do I want?
Sure.
And I think what happened also with Kickstarter, and it's just my thoughts on it, is I think you said I always wanted to do a comic. And I think that's also part of it, where people were staying home and they said, what do I want to do? And then people did it, and they might have realized how hard this is. And
that's exactly right. Yeah, we're looking at it as a couple of possibilities, or both. One is just like you said, people just are like, hey, I just want to do this. There are a lot of people who are just like, I just want to make a project. It's just a vanity project. I just want to say I made a comic. Okay, great. Make your comic. You come into the market, you go out of the market, you're gone. The other part of it is the people who thought that they could make a run at it, make a living at it. And either number one, they didn't, like they just didn't make enough money, even though they thought that it would be easy money. Or two, they were successful, and all of the extra back end stuff, all the shipping and the fulfillment and just the nightmare that is, because it is a nightmare. They were like, yo, I don't ever want to do this again. And so through 2022, you started to see the trend fall off. You started to see less and less random stuff. And so, like we said, like right now, there's about 160 campaigns in January, which for the last few years has been traditionally a big month for a lot of people coming in and being like, let's start the year off. Let's do a campaign. Hurrah. You know, I'm live right now. Wendy Shaner was live. CB Zane was live. Ron Zabala was live. Pat Shan just went live again.
Mount Olympus is live.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But outside of those sort of core people that use this as a livelihood, when you go outside of that bubble, there's far less sort of just kind of stuff. And that's where we are right now. Now, whether that continues throughout the year, who knows? I would imagine we'll probably get back to that 200 range in the spring, summer, again, without too much difficulty. But that doesn't mean that Kickstarter isn't working. It doesn't mean that crowdfunding isn't working. It means that people are learning that it's hard to do, and they're making the decision to either not do it or just be having fun with it. Hey, I made my comic. I can give it to my friends, and I'm done.
I mean, I'll be very honest. I don't want to go back onto Kickstarter for anything. I'd rather take a corporate, route and do sponsorships and do other things. And I have some of that stuff in the works, and it's a hell of a lot easier for me. Crowdfunding is a bitch.
Yep.
And it's complicated. And I hate to say this, but I want to set my own terms too. And I find that it's difficult. And I'm not saying for people not to do it, but if I can go fund my book or fund a project without it and I don't have to deal with it, why wouldn't I do it that way and I can get the same result?
Well, here's the thing. Lots of people have said that, and I have yet to see anyone, let me say that again, anyone replicate Kickstarter results by just selling a book to the general market, except for one guy. And that was the guy, and I don't know his real name. I think it's Eric July, the Rippaverse guy. That guy came out and sold his old comic in a Kickstarter crowdfunding-ish way, but it was all him. He built the website. It was all his stuff.
I mean, what he did, and I'm very honest about this, he just leveraged his brand.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. But no one else has that. It's like J. Scott Campbell is probably the closest that he does. But again, it's not that he's selling it's not he's selling Danger Girl. He's still selling Marvel and whatever stuff. So to actually come out with like your own project, your own characters, your own IP, and sell it to the market, I have yet to see anyone do that as a, hey, look at me, I'm over here, buy my book, and have the same results that crowdfunding does for them. No one has shown me that that's possible yet.
The only market that has done that is there's all this self-help that has done that, but that's not comics.
No, that's what I'm talking about, comics. I'm specifically talking about comics. Yeah. Even the guy, that one dude who was writing fantasy novels, came on to Kickstarter and did like $30 million. It was ridiculous what that guy did. And if he had just come out and been like, hey, we're going to do books and here they are on my website, that never would have happened. So the thing with Kickstarter and crowdfunding is that it creates an event. And unless you have the ability to create that event outside of that platform, like just on whatever platform you have, which again, nobody has at this point, except for that Rippaverse guy. I think a lot of, like, if Mr. Beast wanted to do it, he could do it. If Logan Paul wanted to do it, he could do it, because they have those external things, but they don't want to do that stuff. So right now, the best option for anyone in a creative aspect of like, I want to make something, it's crowdfunding. It is the best place for you to be.
Fair enough. I mean, the only thing is that my only challenge to that is if you're running a show, and you're creative, corporate sponsors work sometimes, things of that nature. But again, in comics or producing a novel or a film, I don't disagree with you on that. So,
yeah, I tell you what, I do quite a few Comic-Cons every year, and there's a lot of people who are putting out their own comics, and they've got their banner set up and they've got their whatever set up, but nobody has any clue what their product is. And tell you what, some of these people, it's just a straight ghost town at their table because it's something that nobody has any clue anything about. And like Tom said, you put something on like Kickstarter, all of a sudden it gets attention. You're going to get way more attention on there than, even being at a busy ass Comic-Con. People are still just going to look right over you.
It goes
Yeah,
back
because
to
Kickstarter is where people go when they want comics. Comic cons are not a. This is the weirdest statement maybe ever. Comic cons are not the place where people go to get comics. Like, isn't that the weirdest statement ever? But it's true, right? Not that they're against comics, but they're not there for comics, especially stuff that they don't know. They might be there for Spider-Man or Batman, but to go up to a booth and they're like, "What is this superhero frog that you have? Like, what the fuck is that?"
I mean, most people at a Comic-Con, especially the big ones, they're there because they're celebrities or there's a wrestler, or you know what it is, they realize that it's a big shopping spree and it's a big pop culture shopping moment that pops up. And
so if you go in with something that no one has a clue what it is, and let's say you're between me on one side, where I've been doing this for 13 years, and you've got, Dan Mendoza on the other side, who's been doing this for longer than me, and you're in the middle with your thing that nobody knows what it is, you're toast, because it's going to be this pyramid of like, whoop, we're going to these places and we don't know who you are. So you've got to it's the hard part. It's the catch-22. You have to create a fan base for yourself. But to make a fan base for yourself, you have to produce a book. To produce a book takes money, on and on and on and on and on. So you can start to backtrack the bricks in your road back to, let's make a book, let's put it on Kickstarter, let's create something, create buzz, create eyeballs, and then expand outwards from that.
And then also it's understanding when you go to a con what products to bring, how to bring them, also what's going to catch eyes, because that's also a big deal too, and things of that nature. There's a million things.
There's way too many people with terrible banners. Holy Jesus Christ, they're just the worst banners ever. Brian knows what I'm talking about. I mean, just like, why is your banner white with your name on it and like a weird square picture of like a book or a title or something? And then you look at what Brian's got in the back, where you've got a full image. Even if they don't know what Blue Jay is, that thing is going to pop right off the banner. As people walk by, they'll be like, "The hell is that?"
People walk by and ask to buy it. They're like, "Is that for sale?" I'm like, "No, that's not for sale. You can't."
I mean, it's the old saying that back in the day on YouTube, all these people had a thumbnail of a pretty sexy girl, because you're scrolling through YouTube and you would stop. Whether the channel is good or bad, you stopped. And anytime somebody stops, you now have their attention. Even if you only got their attention for 10 seconds, you have 10 seconds to make a sale. You have 10 seconds for them to discover something of you. And it's very, very important. I mean, I'll be very honest. There's a reason why I'm interviewing certain people. There's no lie about that. It's not that hard. I mean, they're interesting.
Because I'm sexy. We know what it is. It's fine.
I'm here for Brian. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
No, you have to be a salesman too, though. You have to put on a sales face. I'm a completely different person at conventions. I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'm very, very interactive. I'm not so much on the outside of shows. I keep to myself. I do my own thing. But you gotta, if you see anybody looking at you from a little ways away, you gotta be like, hey man, come over here. You gotta bring people over. You gotta put in work.
Greg Bo was just on, Greg Bo Watson, and he was saying that he stopped taking commissions at cons because he stopped wanting to be this.
Yeah, I 100% don't. I don't. He's right. Even if you only get 1 or 2 commissions a show, you still, a decent piece of art, even for a talented, very experienced artist, it's going to take hours. You got it. 3 hours out of your day is 3 hours down. How many sales are you going to miss with all the people walking by that you could have interacted with? Sometimes all it takes is a look, and then you got somebody. I don't take shows at commissions either. I'll if I'm open, I'll do one after the show or before the show. But you gotta if you're trying to be there and make money, you gotta be working.
It's very complicated. I've said this, and I just had Dolan on from Merck, and we were talking about this, and it's the idea that in this business and in creative businesses, you need to have 14 skills plus whatever you're mastering. And then it's hard. It's hard. And what I'm doing on this show is not easy. And I know plenty of people who started podcasts and then they stopped and then they started again and then they stop because it's hard. And
yeah, consistency is the key to anything, and that especially with Kickstarter or crowdfunding. Like if you come in January and you make a book, great, and then you don't do another one until next year, people will forget you even exist. So you've got to keep going, even if you're like twice a year. You got to even tell them like, okay, we did this in January, we're back in July, guys. You got to be able to tell them when to come back for whatever it is that's next. And that's half of marketing, is telling them that there's more coming.
I think even a bigger mistake is that you don't have a Kickstarter going on. You should be on a bunch of shows. You should be doing something. You should be on a bunch of streams. Why should you ever?
Well, I run into that all the time with people that are like, oh man, I can't do that. I can't talk on a show. I can't be on. I'm just like, you do it at a con, dude. Like you're at a con at your table. It's the same thing. It's just you're talking here, it's a different sort of environment to a degree, but you're still just talking about shit back and forth, with your, instead of a customer, you're talking to somebody who's interviewing you. But it's there's a fear of this technology that is rampant in comics, particularly the people that have been doing it for a while, that sort of have their blinders on, like, this is the way we do it, man. This is the way we do it. And so, anyone that can do more than that, you're going to help yourself, get a bump.
Yeah, no. I appreciate when old timers come on. I love it. I love when somebody who's in their 70s is like, yeah, I'm adapting. It's great. I love it. Because it's cool for me and I love it. And I'm like, great. And then some people are like, I'm not doing it. I'm like, okay. And it's weird. I'm like, there's all these people who are like voice actors who are terrified of doing interviews. And I'm like, you voice characters for a living. I'm not.
I think that's like, they don't want their voice attached to themselves. Like they want to exist as the character as much as they can. You know what I mean? And if they're talking and it's, I don't know, whatever, Inspector Gadget, right? But it's them on the screen. It's like, that guy, that's Inspector Gadget, man. That's not, I don't want to see that guy.
Oh, no. It's like the weirdest thing. And then like I've had somebody and I had to convince me, like, that wasn't that bad. They had nothing to fear. And I'm like, they legitimately said, I had nothing to fear. I'm like, exactly. Do you really think this is a deadly interview? I'm not going to call out bullshit on you in any which way. It's not an attack interview. Nobody's going to get in trouble. Like, and people are like, I'm just terrified of being live on air. And I'm like, you do realize it's a friendly environment. I can make it unfriendly if that would make you feel better. But
public speaking is not something everybody has. It's not
for sure
my favorite thing, but I'm pretty good at it, as far as a lot of people go. But it can be pretty intimidating for a lot of people, for sure.
That is true.
But it's and I do get that, except that when I go and talk to people that I know talk at cons, they do panels at cons and stuff. And I'm like, hey, let's do a video. And they're like, no, I can't do that. I'm like, it's the same thing. You've already done this. We're going to talk about the same subjects, the same topics. Like you can give the same answers and people wouldn't even know. Those are the ones that are confusing ones, not the ones that I know have I know a lot of artists that even at cons, they're very just, I'm down here. And usually they have like a handler like answers questions for them. So those people I get, but it's the ones that are at cons that are just like, yeah, they're fine. And then they can't get on video. That's very strange.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like that because I don't like video stuff like this. Like whenever I got interviewed, it was fine for me to talk to them, but I never wanted them to film it because I always felt like, okay, this is stupid. Why am I on camera? But it only took a few times, and I was like, okay, this is fine.
Well, I love being on camera, and I need to do more of it. It's a problem. I don't get invited anywhere.
It's a problem.
I'll speak about things I know nothing about. I'll give opinions that are wrong. It'll be great. I got no problem talking about anything.
Well, that's why I'm here, to make sure all your opinions are wrong, and I'll give you the right ones.
I mean, the stuff that I actually like talking about, nobody ever talks about with me, which is just sad. I like talking about cryptocurrencies, investing, and buying comics, and nobody ever talks to me about that.
Yeah, that's what these kind of shows are good for. Anybody I talk to outside of the comic world, if you're like, hey, I'm a comic artist, they're like, right over their head. You can't have a conversation about that kind of stuff with those people. With this kind of show, you get to talk about all that stuff. So, it's kind of a whole new.
But I digress. No. I want to hear Tom's opinion on Avatar 2. That's what I really want to hear.
It's shit. I'll never even watch it. I will never watch it, ever. Never will I watch it. I saw the first one. I was like, I don't get what the fuck this is.
This one has water.
It's like let's go in the water now. Like, no, legitimately never watching this movie.
They're gonna go like full.
And it's made $2 billion, so good for Cameron. But like, here's the funny part about Avatar. It's the movie that makes $2 billion, but nobody talks about it. Like, nobody comes and talks about, oh my God, Avatar was so great. Like, this doesn't happen. And this is the confusing part about Avatar to me. No one cared the first time. They watched it, right? And they made a lot of money. But no one came out of it being like, God damn, that was great. There were some toys that were made, but no one cares anymore. There wasn't like a history of, Avatar fandom that grew and was like, oh my God, the sequel's like, no one cares about this movie, but everyone went to see it. So it's a very strange thing for me, but I'm not going to see it.
What's crazy about it is that it came out during the World Cup. So nobody went. If it came out a week before or after, it probably would have made $3 billion. Easy.
Nah, it wasn't going to make any difference. People that go watch Avatar aren't World Cup people. Sports and pop culture don't really jive very much.
I don't know about that. I think things are changing, man. I really do.
Nah, not in that context. Not in the context of soccer.
No. I mean, I think when LeBron James was talking about his NBA prep up, and when he was in like the finals, he's like, "I'm gonna go watch some Teen Titans, eat some Cocoa Puffs." I'm like, I could get behind this guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's American. American people grew up on that stuff. American people didn't even grow up on soccer, so it's just like soccer is just.
Maybe we need Messi just to say, "I'm gonna go watch some Teen Titans and eat my Fruity Pebbles, and then I'm gonna go score a few goals." I think that would change and move the needle a little bit, but that's just my opinion.
But it's not going to happen because those players in those other countries aren't going to grow up with pop culture the way that we do.
I see how it is.
Unless you're in Japan. Japan is probably the sole exception to that rule.
I picked the wrong cereal. I get it.
Speaking of cereal, you brought up Fruity Pebbles a few years back. I actually took a picture. We bought it. They had fizzy Fruity Pebbles. You pour them in milk, and it makes your milk fizz. We bought one box. I was like, this is not good. This fizzy cereal is not okay.
I can't eat any of that. I'm large enough. I'm like overweight by 25 pounds, and I need to drop weight. And so if you gave me fizzy Fruity Pebbles, it'd be like, you're gonna kill me. You're gonna kill me.
I literally destroyed a box of Fruity Pebbles the other day. I bought cereal for the first time in months. And I destroyed a box of not just like the normal box. I'm talking about the family size box. I destroyed the box in a day. It was gone. So it's like, I can't ever have cereal in the house again, ever, because I will die. This is just what it is.
The only cereal I can have is like Honey Nut Cheerios because it won't kill me. Like,
doesn't matter. Like I've had healthy cereal in the thing before, and it's just like I just tear through the box. Just tear through it. I'm like, no, this cereal will kill me. This will be my death. I'll be sponsored by Kellogg's on my tombstone because they killed me.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna plead the fifth. I've been doing that. I did that all last night.
Terrible.
And all of Friday, apparently. It's like my new favorite word. But it's like a red hot Barbie Ferrari. for you. That's gonna be a great movie, everybody. That's gonna be like the #1 movie ever. Let me explain to you how I'm gonna go see that movie. I am going to go order a large Coke at the movie theater. I'm going to sneak in a bunch of pocket shots. I'm going to pour myself and enjoy my movie. That when that movie comes out, that's the plan.
No, that movie's gonna blow up. I mean, in a bad way. It's just gonna bomb. Just.
But Margaret,
I don't think we can even make the determination yet until we get a real trailer. Like, I don't even know what the hell. No one knows what it is. Like the teaser that came out, it's like there's nothing there. But once we actually get a trailer to show us, like, okay, what story is actually being told here? Like, how is this working? Then I think we'll get a sense. But I think it's going to be a sort of a almost like a oh my god, like the happy version of Tim Burton. Like, it's just weird fucking shit, but it's the happy version of Tim Burton, not the goth version of Tim Burton. So take like Batman and make it pink and happy, and I think that's what this thing is going to be. I think it has the ability to be gigantic, but it also has the ability to be cats. So
I don't know. I've got 2 daughters, and I've seen every Barbie movie that they've ever made, and I'll tell you this right now: it's not going to go anywhere in the theater.
Yeah, but this isn't an animated. You know what I mean? Like, people aren't going to go to. I mean, they are going to go because it's Barbie, but they're going to go because it's Margot Robbie.
Well, that's the selling point for sure.
Yeah,
Other than that,
and Ryan Gosling,
13-year-olds and under. That's what it's for.
I don't know that it is. That's the thing, is we don't know what this is. I don't know who the audience is. I don't know that you have Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie and it's for kids. Like, I don't think that's the market. That's why I'm saying, like, Batman with Tim Burton, it went from being Adam West to being Tim Burton, Batman. I have a sense that this is going to be a really weird fucking Barbie experience that none of us are prepared for.
Well, since it's a toy product, it's owned by Mattel or whatever, I guarantee you Mattel is going to keep that thing locked down. It's going to be very,
I don't know, dude.
Not risque at all. Anyway, it's not going to be adult.
I don't know. I don't know. But again, until we get a trailer, we don't know.
I'm excited for it, guys. Like, seriously, I think it's going to be enjoyable. I don't know if it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be outside the box. It's going to be different. It'll also depend on what it's up against before and after when it comes out. Because isn't like Super Mario Brothers comes out next year?
Well, that's gonna be fantastic.
This year now, 2023.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
So it kind of depends on some of that, but I think it's probably going to have a good opening weekend, and then it just depends on what the hell it is. As to whether people want to see it again. And that was the downfall of Black Adam. Is it's not a terrible movie, but there was nothing there to make me go see it again. And nobody went and saw it again. Like, it was just this woo dead. So you gotta put something in it that makes people want to go see it more than one time. I think the advantage will be that it might be a kids movie, in which case people are bringing like groups of kids. That'll fill up your theaters in a hurry. But they got to go back for it. And that's going to be the interesting part.
See, I can't see adults being like, let's go see Barbie again.
Dude. But again, it's going to depend on what it is. Like, if it's some weird psychedelic, fucked up Tim Burton happy time movie, like, this could be mind-blowingly bizarre. And that's what I'm hoping for. But I literally have no idea what this thing is. Like, the teaser told me nothing. There was like that one weird shot of like the city that she was in, that it looked like it was like made out of plastic and shit. It was like kind of weird. Like, there was that one shot, and that's why I think, oh my God, this could be like Tim Burton Barbie. This could be amazing.
I have a feeling. I think this thing's going to be huge. I think it might, if it's up against Super Mario Bros., I think it might beat it.
No, zero chance of beating
it.
Super Mario Brothers is going to be the biggest movie of the year next year.
Yeah,
the biggest. I'm telling you right now, mark it down. January 17th, Tom said Super Mario Brothers will be the biggest movie of the year.
I don't know.
Period. Period.
I have a feeling, and I've been known to take some crazy bets and come out as a winner on them. And
I'm right here.
Hey,
I think the fan base for Mario Brothers
And
is
I
bigger
will.
and more
Oh my
worldwide.
God, immense.
Yeah.
I will tell you, at minimum, Super Mario Brothers will do more than Barbie. That's the minimum bet.
Mario is the most iconic video game of all time.
Yeah, and the trailer looks amazing. Like, holy shit. Even I was like, yo, what the fuck am I looking at? This is crazy.
I don't know how big I am on Chris Pratt being Mario. I'm sure he'll be okay.
He'll be fine.
You know, I'm more of the guy that's like, yeah, you should just use Mario's actual voice, but you know, you got to have an actor do all that, you know, emotional stuff.
Emotional stuff. Emotional Mario.
Yeah, he's gonna lose his princess. His Princess Peach will be kidnapped, and he'll be sad and have to go get her.
I mean, it looks good. I got my Mario Casio watch, so I'm pretty happy about that.
There you go. Is that the kind you can play the game on?
No, it was a G-Shock 40th anniversary watch.
I thought you were talking about one of those old school 1991
Those are cool too,
where you can actually play the game on your watch.
Those are cool too. I had one of those too back in the day, but
yeah,
I don't know what happened to it. Maybe my parents threw it out. I don't know, but it's all right. It's all right. You know, we live and learn. But anyway, obviously now that we got Tom's opinion about movies, I would like to ask him one more question. Only one more question. Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, fantastic.
I think they should just bring it back into theaters. Just bring it all the way back.
Dude, it would be, if you could put it in theater, you know what they should be doing? They should be making double features and just playing them back to back. And they would just sell tickets for the rest of time on these things. So, I mean, yeah.
It's a movie that shouldn't have worked.
I agree. I completely agree. Top Gun 2 should never have worked. But goddamn, there it is. And it was a really good movie. It was really legitimately good movie. And I'm as surprised as anyone else.
I'm glad it was not streamed. I think that was the best move that Tom Cruise ever made, is fighting for that. Because he was the holdup of not letting it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
And sometimes that's not the correct move. Sometimes that is the wrong move. In this case, it was not.
No, streaming is always the wrong move. Always, because it will destroy your force of people going out to the theater. Streaming is for the films that they know are already fucked. And that's just what it is. So Barbie, here's Barbie. Barbie comes out July 21st. Okay. Comes out the same week as Oppenheimer, which is irrelevant because those are opposite markets. The following week is the Marvels. So Barbie gets 1 week to be potentially at number one, and then the Marvels takes it away. And then August 4th is the Meg 2. And then August 11th, Haunted Mansion. So Barbie's going to get squashed over its.
Those are some big ones to go
initial month. It's going to get squashed. Yeah. And Super Mario Brothers comes out April 7th against Nothing before it. April 14th is Renfield, which doubtful that will conquer it. And then April 21st is Evil Dead Rise. So that'll be like 3 weeks. And I would imagine Evil Dead Rise might take number one after 3 weeks. But Mario Brothers is coming out at a complete dead zone of April, March and April. So it's going to dominate, and Barbie is going to get squashed by the competition. January 17th. Mark it.
Well, on that note, I've been known. Last time somebody said I was wrong about Netflix, I made a lot of money. So that's all I'm going to say. I made a lot of money on that.
I'm waiting for the bet. I'm waiting for it. I'm still here. What's the bet?
I got nothing for you. I'm just saying. My name is Jeff Probst. I got nothing for you. This is Survivor. I love what he says. That it's the best thing ever. But anyway, I do want to give everybody a chance to self-promote themselves. So
Yeah.
I don't know who wants to go first. Brian, do you want to go first? Tom,
Yeah,
you
go
wanna
ahead.
first?
Sure, I'll go. Yep. If you aren't familiar with me, I'm Brian Peterson. I do covers mostly with Big Dog Inc. Every now and then something will turn up with some other publishers. I've got a book live on Kickstarter right now with Tom on the Ursa Minor Lost Girls. My cover is the Lost Girls cover. There's a lot of other various great covers with great art. And go back it today.
Yeah, we're so Ursa Minor is basically at the halfway point right now. We're already well over $20,000. We're at 264 backers. We picked up another backer while we were watching here. Basically, if you like horror books, monsters, werewolves, vampires, all that kind of stuff, that is what Ursa Minor is. This is volume 3. You can catch up very easily and just get all of volume 3 in one catch up. You can get the entire series in one catch up if you want. But if you just want to try out this volume, I always write individual volumes so that as you come into it, you will quickly catch up and understand sort of what is happening. And then if you want to decide to go get books on the back end, you can go collect books however you want to get them. But yeah, we've got 10 days left. This is already pacing to be the best Ursa Minor campaign ever that we've done, which is fantastic. We really appreciate everybody's support on this. Everybody works really hard to make these books amazing. And, you know, we want the book to end up in your hands so that when you get it, you open it up and you read it, you know, you have fun with your stuff. So.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to keep saying it. You have to support what you like.
Mm-hmm.
You have to financially support it. So if somebody has a book on Kickstarter, whether it's on their web store, whether it's on something else, they're at a con, it's in a comic shop, however it is, wherever it is, you need to support it because let's be realistic, without money, things don't get made or they don't get made fast enough or to the speed of your liking. Furthermore, you do need to share things out because that also helps because there's plenty of people who do not see things and a share can go a long way. Also, following people on social media goes a long way, and that's a big thing as well. And that's very important too. And again, all this stuff leads to further success and lets people know, hey, this exists. So I really recommend people do that. As far as I'm concerned, obviously I'm independent media. So what that means is that I appreciate when people follow me on Twitter at Pop Anime Comics, when they follow me on Instagram, Pop Anime Comics, when they follow me on Facebook, Pop Anime Comics, when they subscribe on YouTube. It makes a huge difference. Obviously, independent media. I have Buy Me a Coffee. I definitely appreciate that. It's not a requirement. But again, it goes back to if you like something, you need to support it, whether that is social media-wise or financially, if you want to see more of it, because it does make a huge difference. And also, I really appreciate when people share out my interviews. It means a lot to me when somebody shares out my interview because that's a potential person that hasn't seen it. And also, I do 150 interviews plus a year. So the best place to catch all that is on YouTube. So please subscribe on YouTube, everybody. It makes a difference. And that's everything I have, except I do have one more thing. I have a t-shirt. You can go buy my t-shirt. It's super cool. It's Redbubble. It's making fun of Gundam and Taco Bell. And the most interesting man in the world. It's on Redbubble, 16 colors. And I have it in a mini skirt because why not? So that's everything I got. And I'll let whoever wants the final word to take it.
Go for it, Tom.
I mean, we've said it all here, guys. We've said it all. Big Dog Inc. If you want to follow us, we are always doing Kickstarter stuff. We're going to be very, very busy this year. In fact, Brian and I will be back February. We're working with Dynamite Comics, and Bad Kitty is coming to Kickstarter for a limited time. So if you missed the Indiegogo last year, there's going to be a limited time for Bad Kitty on Kickstarter. And then in March, we are going to be bringing back Penny for Your Soul Volume 1 as a remastered hardcover edition. And then April will be sort of off. And then we go into May. May is Goth Day. And CB Zane and I are already working on Goth Day for this year. And then BD 13, our big anthology book, celebrating our 13-year anniversary in July. We'll be announcing my co-writers and some of the other stories very soon. But one of them is the Ursa Minor spinoff called Yeehaw Vampires. And you can actually get a preview cover for that on the Ursa Minor campaign right now. So if you want to kind of get the first appearance of the new Vampire Dawn and Daisy Doom, that is available on the Kickstarter right now. So busy 2023.
And I think I couldn't have said that any better myself. And that is a wrap, everybody.